Hey everybody, it's Joey with createdinawe here. I have another shirt I want to do with an iron-on transfer. I've done some videos lately. I did a short sleeve shirt with a coffee design. We just did this one the other day, yesterday, I can't remember. And then I have another one. This is a long sleeve shirt. Each one is a little bit different, but just know you can put our iron-on transfers on any fabric that can handle at least a cotton to linen setting on an iron or a 325-degree setting on a heat press. Either one will work. I'm going to show you the tools you need, how to do it, how easy it is, and how it turns out. So let's get started on the shirt. Any cotton shirt is going to be fine, even if it has a little bit of a synthetic content to it, as long as it can handle the hot iron. So all you need is a hard surface. An ironing board is fine. I'm just using a wool mat on my dining room table, but I've also done it on my ironing board. So I'm going to lay this down so that I can see the entire area where the design is going to go. Okay, I'm going to smooth it out. We'll iron it here in just a second. I'm going to get an idea of where my design will be placed. This is just your personal preference. If you have a large design, you may choose to move it down lower, move it up higher, depending on where the collar of your shirt falls. There are also t-shirt placement guides that you can get. I can get you a link to one if you need one. Sometimes your shirt collar is not completely straight, so make sure you line up the seams at the top edge and you find the center of it. To find the center of your iron-on transfer, what I sometimes do is line up the outside edges, folding it in half, making sure the top edge or the bottom edge is lined up, and then I make a crease. And I will see that crease and it'll help me find center, and then I'll just move it up and down to where I want it to be. But we'll get it placed here in just a second. Other items you're going to need for this is you'll need either a heat press, like I said, set to about 325 degrees, or you can use your standard iron or even a small craft iron if you want to, at the maximum setting. Now, some craft irons don't quite get as hot as standard irons. My cotton linen setting is the highest I have, and it gets right at 325 degrees. I've tested it. So check your iron. You will also need a piece of parchment paper, not wax paper. I don't recommend Teflon paper, and you'll see why here in a minute, but I like parchment paper for this because it's very, very thin, and you'll, like I said, see why. And then I use a timer. You can grab a watch, you can use a timer on your phone, you can count it up. It's just being able to keep track of how many seconds you're pressing each time, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so for your fabric, make sure it is completely dry. I pre-wash mine just to make sure if it's going to shrink, it does that before I put the design on it. You will be able to launder this in cool to warm settings of your washer and go through the dryer. I hang mine to dry just because that's my preference, but you can put it through the dryer. These are also good for tote bags, tea towels, so many different things, pillow covers, lots of fun stuff. Okay, let me make sure I am even. And just to make sure that we don't have any moisture in the fabric, I go over the fabric one more time with an iron, and it also helps to smooth out your wrinkles so you get a nice flat surface. Now you place your design wherever you want it to be. So once again, I need to make sure I find center, and I'm going to move it down to about there. You can use any placement guides you like, an iron, a ruler, whatever you might need. But this just goes straight onto the fabric. You don't need to put anything over it. You'll want to have a timer set to 20 to 25 seconds. I go the max of 25 seconds. That's the most you'll need. You can go longer than that if you need to, but don't go less than 20 seconds. Now, your iron gets pressed down, and don't move it while you're doing the ironing. So you can go any direction you like. I'm going to go this way, and I think this will cover the full height of the design. I am past the edge of the design because the edges of your iron are curved. Don't go line it up right to the edge of your iron because you may miss a portion of your design. So you'll want to move it out further from the edge of the design. So I'm going to set it down. I'm not going to move it, and I'm going to put pressure on it for 25 seconds. I'm just going to continue to hold this down. I prefer to use my dining room table if I can because my ironing board legs are apparently very weak and I bent the leg of my ironing board by doing this over and over and over again. So I use a table when I can. And that is our first press. I just lifted up. I can actually see the outline of the iron where this was, so I know where I need to press next. Overlap your sections by at least an inch. So I've missed this area totally. So my next press is going to cover that and overlap behind it about an inch. So I'm going to again set it down and press for 25 seconds. I'll skip ahead for this so that you don't have to watch it all. Okay, that's it for your first round of pressing. Now you have to let it completely cool. So I can pick it up and when I move it, my transfer will still stay stuck to the fabric. I can actually fan it or I can move it over to another spot and lay it down while I work on another project. You can even leave it sitting overnight, whatever works best for you. But you want it to be cool to the touch. This area is still very hot, so I'm going to let this continue to cool. Okay, this feels good. It's a little bit warm, but it's cool to the touch. I can handle it. And so that is the distinction with my transfers. They are cool peel transfers. You might find some out at other websites that are hot peel. So those are gonna work differently. This will work for cool peel transfers. And now I can remove the transfer cover sheet. I do it slowly so that if anything stays stuck to the cover sheet and didn't attach to the fabric, I can stop and I can repress that section. So let's go ahead. The little thin lines are what I have to look at most closely. Thick, large designs will probably stick down without a problem. And there we go. Oh, this is good. This looks so good already. Now, that's the first round of pressing. Now I'm going to do a second round, which really presses the design all the way into the texture of your fabric. It doesn't go through the fabric. You don't need to worry about anything on the other side, but the top side you want to be completely pressed in. So the second round is where the parchment paper comes in. And I like the parchment paper because I can see through it and I know exactly where to put my iron. If you use a Teflon sheet, for one thing, it's a little bit thicker and you won't get quite as much heat going to the design. And also, you can't see what you're doing. So I'm gonna set my timer now and bring it down to 12 seconds. That's the max I would need for the second round of pressing. Okay, so 12 seconds on my timer. I do the exact same pressing process. Put the iron in one spot, covering all everything you can, pressing with pressure, and then I hit the timer. You don't have to go in the same pattern and movement. You could go in any direction you want. I'm gonna go ahead and follow the same process. So I'm gonna set this past the outside edge of my design and start my timer. And the parchment paper can be a little bit slippery. Don't let your iron slide around if you can help it. On fabric, it's not that big of a deal, but on a hard surface, like I talked about wood, you definitely don't want it to slide around. So I'm just gonna pick this up, move to the next section, overlapping, 12 seconds again. And that's it. You are completely done with this project. Yes, it will still be hot to the touch, but you could actually go ahead and wear this right now and you could actually launder it right now. It looks so good. I am so happy with this. We have a ton of different designs on the website right now. The link for that will either be in the description or in the comments of this video, and I hope you'll go check it out. Please let me know if you have any questions. Watch for more videos. We have some, like I said, with crafting projects coming up soon. Thanks for being here.